What's going on, everyone? Welcome to AWS reInvent 2024 with AWS OnAir. Today, we're going to talk to you about AWS Cloud Institute and how it helped Darrin forge a path to a rewarding DevOps engineer career. And then Cherokee will join us later. Cherokee is an AWS Cloud Institute instructor, and we'll learn more about the program and see a course demo focusing on Amazon DynamoDB. My name is Aaron Hunter. I'm a principal developer advocate with AWS Training Live team. And Darrin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Aaron. My name's Darrin Long. I live here in Boulder, Colorado. I've been in IT for quite some time now, and as a software developer for quite a few years, as I mentioned. And I decided to jump into the cloud career as sort of a transition. And I joined the Cloud Institute in January of 2023. I'm in my fourth quarter, and I'll be graduating in a couple months. And it's great to be here. It's one of the best decisions I've made in my career.
Amazing. So congrats early on your graduation. That's going to be happening in a few months. We talked earlier and you talked to me about your experience as a developer, working with other roles and really helping to understand not just the solutions, but the attraction that you had in their work as transitioning into a cloud engineer type role. Can you tell me more about that experience and then next, how you heard about AWS Cloud Institute?
Yeah, absolutely. In my career as a software developer, I began to, as DevOps became more and more integrated into software development life cycles, I started working more closely, again, as a programmer with DevOps engineers and solutions architects. That just increased over time, especially as I kind of stepped into a leadership role here and there. And I became very, very attracted to cloud engineering, and it reinvented and refreshed my career in a way. And that's why I joined the Cloud Institute. And I found out about the Cloud Institute when I was streaming reInvent last year in 2023. I believe it was the first day of reInvent, and I was just sitting there watching and getting ready to stream all my classes. And it was announced. I saw the original announcement, and they said they were starting January 8th, and I signed up right away.
Amazing. It's almost like it's full circle because you're watching reInvent remotely in 2023, and now here we are streaming live to everyone who's watching remotely in reInvent 2024.
That's right.
Now, with your experience with the program, we're going to have Cherokee join us later, but Cherokee is an AWS Cloud Institute instructor, and the two of you have partnered together in the past, her as an instructor and you as a learner. Can you tell me more about your experience with the program and what it is like to be a day in the life of an AWS Cloud Institute learner?
Yeah, first of all, Cherokee's a fantastic instructor. I've had some office hours with her, and she's done great at explaining to us students on some of the more nuanced things of services in the cloud and AWS. And a typical day for me, I would say, is generally speaking, I would read and study my content for the week's content. I would study the week's module. And that would be before the video classes would start, which is all real time. And in those classes, you can chat with the teacher via Slack. You can chat with other students. And again, in between classes, I would just kind of do my study, getting ready for the next class. But usually by Friday, I'd have my content done in my studies, and I'd be ready to test out for the week on the assessment. And again, between the studies and the labs and the office hours with the teachers, you couldn't ask for a better platform.
Amazing. And last question, and then we'll let you go. Do you have any tips for anyone who's just getting started?
Yes, don't be intimidated. I know IT can be very intimidated. I know even when I first started my programming career, we all have imposter syndrome at least once in our lifetime, and it's completely understandable. But the great thing about AWS and cloud computing is not only the democratization of getting your job done, but it makes it fun. And the community out there in AWS is huge, and it's a great community. It's a great family, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, don't be intimidated. Get out there and learn. And if you want to learn more about Darrin's journey, go ahead and read this blog here. We'll make sure there's a link in the chat. Darrin Long's journey into the cloud with AWS Cloud Institute. That's it for now. Darrin, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Up next, we have Cherokee joining us, who's going to talk to us about the AWS Cloud Institute program and walk us through the course outline and even talk to us and teach us all about Amazon DynamoDB. Really excited. because Darrin, you said she's an amazing instructor. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Darrin, thank you so much. Everyone stay tuned for more.
Great. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, and welcome back, everyone. We just got done talking to Darrin, who's an AWS Cloud Institute learner. We learned about his story and his journey. Go ahead, check out the blog. Again, we'll make sure we have that link in the chat for each of you. And we have Cherokee, an AWS Cloud Institute instructor, here to talk to us not just about AWS Cloud Institute, but also show us a demo. Well, actually, I'm going to be the student, and Cherokee is going to be the instructor and teach me a couple of things with all of you. Hey, Cherokee, how's it going?
It's going well, Aaron. How are you?
I am great. So tell everyone about you, who you are, and why they should listen to you today.
Sure. I'm Cherokee Boos, an AWS Cloud Institute instructor, and I'm excited to be here with you today and to be with Aaron and Darrin and all of you. We're going to be walking through a fun demo.
Amazing. Let's go ahead and talk, before we do the demo, let's go ahead and talk about AWS Cloud Institute, what it is, and how it really benefits all of the learners and all the viewers here today watching us live at reInvent.
Great. So AWS Cloud Institute is a virtual training program designed for a variety of learners, starting with zero or to some level of IT experience, any kind of maybe programming, it really doesn't matter. So we're going to be tailoring our discussions and really trying to help learners succeed from a variety of backgrounds.
And there's multiple courses and quarters and everything too, right? That people can go through. We're kind of showing it here on the screen.
Absolutely. And between the different courses that you see there, so for an example, in quarter one, we have Introduction to Cloud Foundations. And my background is with infrastructure. So I was lucky enough, Aaron, to be able to travel through these 3 different courses this past year through Introduction to Cloud Foundations, moving into AWS Cloud Fundamentals 1, and then falling into AWS Cloud Fundamentals 2. But there's more. You don't have to just take one class. You can be full-time and take all 3. So you have some flexibility, not only in the amount of courses that you want to take, but how you want to take them.
Yeah, and I see there's also this really cool course here that says AI for developers. And there's even, I'm peeping this real quick, and I'm sure everyone else is looking at it, certification prep courses to help people in addition to these capstone projects. Really cool.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff going on here. Just different ways to have that validation to be able to demonstrate your skill set.
Amazing. So I'm going to recap what you said and what we saw on the screen here. It's a virtual training program. It helps you learn what you need to become a cloud developer in as little as 9 months. You can gain in-demand skills and hands-on technical expertise. You have 9 core courses. We see them on the screen here, including one focused on AI for developers. And you can get prepared for 2 AWS certifications.
That sounds right, Aaron.
And you mentioned a couple of courses here. Specifically, there's Cloud Fundamentals 1 and Cloud Fundamentals 2. And I believe you have a demo for us focusing on Amazon DynamoDB that comes directly from the AWS Cloud Fundamentals 2 course.
That's right. So this is really a special course for me, I believe. And even this lab or this demo that we're about to share, it's a little sneak peek of a lab, if you will. But this is really where learners start to build and connect all the different AWS services and really get a chance to be creative with things. So hopefully you all can see and even play along with us here today. We're going to pretend, we're going to adopt a persona maybe.
Amazing. Well, let's go ahead and jump directly into that. But before we do, let's give people some context around databases and Amazon DynamoDB. So I have this page right here pulled up. We'll make sure there's a link in the chat for each of you, but we're not going to talk about the differences between relational and non-relational, but most certainly, Cherokee, is Amazon DynamoDB a relational or non-relational database?
Amazon DynamoDB is a non-relational.
Got it. Okay. So we'll make sure, again, this link is in the chat for you, each of you watching. So if you want, you can go ahead and check it out. We'll also make sure that this link right here is available for each of you. So you can read more about Amazon DynamoDB. But let's go ahead and jump directly into that really exciting demo that you're going to walk us through and teach us all a couple of things as when I'm the learner and the student today.
I love it. Thank you for playing along with me, Aaron. So just like I encourage learners to play along, I'm glad you're being a good sport here today. So
I'm player 1 today. Okay.
Good, because that's definitely fitting into the context. And I really enjoy this lab because it approaches DynamoDB and really just strategy from a modern application design lens. So we have our tasks clearly outlined for us, but I know this isn't a cooking show, Aaron. I think you did a little pre-baking, so we might be
I,
able
I
to.
have I have a couple things loaded over here in these other tabs, so don't
All
worry,
right, we'll get
friends.
to that. But what are we doing here with Amazon DynamoDB and tables and indexes? One of the things we like to do, Aaron, is really allow learners to get comfortable with a topic. So we actually have 3 weeks in this particular course where we look at that. And this lab is associated with that first week. So we're just getting started. We're setting the stage. We're learning what DynamoDB tables are, what indexes are, and then really why we would use indexes and queries and which ones are better. So I don't know. What do you think? Do we have any kind of hard rules on one versus the other? Best
We do.
practices, perhaps?
Yeah. I see there's the lab overview. So we're doing the gaming thing. We'll talk about that as well. There's the different tasks. So you mentioned like creating the friends table and adding the player data. Like you mentioned, that's already built out. I have it over here. Querying and scan the table, task statement 3. I see that. We do have some best practices for querying and scanning data in DynamoDB. I'm going to zoom out a bit for everyone here. Oh my gosh, what just happened? That is moving around, isn't it? All right.
I can
What are
see
some
your
of the
screen,
callouts?
so I think we're doing okay.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so performance considerations for scans. That's one of the things to keep in mind, like how big the scan is, or the database.
Absolutely. How much
Okay,
data do we have in our table? Right? That
okay,
can
yeah.
affect the performance.
Avoiding sudden spikes in read activity.
That's right. We want to have kind of a stable, even keel. We don't want to have any kind of hot partitions. That's a little bit of a side discussion. We can talk about that later. But you really want to just understand how your users may be using or want to use this data that you're storing. Like
I can
what
see here it's talking about this distribution size, and there's a really cool graphic here that we're showing on the screen.
it is a really cool graphic, right? So just to kind of give you an idea of the different types of patterns, right? So think about, is your application going to be having more reads, writes? What does that data access look like? How do I want to craft my queries and scans? What makes sense for this fictitious any company, right? And so I think,
Exactly.
Aaron, that's really, I don't know how you normally go about doing your labs, but I often try to pretend I'm in that particular role and kind of create this fictitious story and really run with it. It makes lab time fun.
It really does. Should we jump into querying and scanning the table that we've already built out so we can
Yeah,
talk
let's do
about
that.
global secondary indexes? Cool.
Sounds good. And you mentioned player one. So I have a feeling that in your table here, our friends table, all right,
Yeah, like the friends table that I have here that I've already created.
absolutely. And we could probably understand why it would be important for a video game user to know information about their friends. Perhaps is their friend online, or did they receive a new message from their friend?
How do we know that they're our friend though? Because like I'm player 1. How do I know that player 2 is my friend and player 3 is my friend, or maybe they aren't?
That's a great question. We would need to perform some type of query, and we could perform a basic query to at least determine that, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at our.
Our table items. Okay. So I'll click explore table items. Oh, that's pretty easy. I can see there's scan and query.
That's right. So let's just change that radio button to query and then specify the type of query that we're going to have. The table is good. We know this is your friends table.
Friends. Okay. All
All right.
attributes or specific ones.
We can keep it either or here. So for this first one, we're just going to type in our player ID, and that's going to be, well, of course, player
Player
one.
1. Okay. And then run.
That's right.
Amazing.
Pretty simple, right?
But why are there 2 player 1s? I thought I'm player 1. I'm only one person.
Good question, Aaron. In this situation, we're not itemizing or returning individual players per se, but we're returning items that represent the relationships between player one and their friends. So if we look at that second column, that is going to be showing us our sort key, which is friend ID. So we can really see those individual relationships. They're isolated. So if player
player
3 was
two,
offline, it wouldn't impact my relationship with player 2.
got it. Okay, so player 2 is here, player 3 is here. So it's showing that player 1, me, is friend with player 2, and player 1, me, is friend with player 3, but independently. Cool, makes sense. Let's go back over to the steps here. The second is query using the partition key and the sort key.
Yeah, we're moving on up here. So when we add this additional sort key to the partition key, we could even call this a composite key. And that composite key will allow us to have some more complexities with our query here. So for this one, that's right, we're going to add to our player 1 search. We're going to add an additional attribute here. This is going to be our friend ID. We're leveraging that sort key. And we see a more refined response here, right?
Okay, that's cool. So we're refining our response, getting even more specific results back. Now we're going to move from query over to scan. And we talked about the dangers and risks if you have a large database. So thanks for telling me about that. I think we're safe.
I think we're safe.
Attribute name, enter friend ID. We'll go back over here. I'll hit scan. Yeah.
That's right. And then
Tables.
we pop out that filter. Okay, you're in the right table. You're good. You're checking all the things.
Okay, friend ID. Am I in the right spot?
So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be going by friend ID, yes. And you can type in friend ID there. The attribute is string, okay, equal to. But this one, for the value, we're actually going to be typing in player 1.
Type in me. I should just hit me, huh?
And then run.
Okay, and then run.
Don't type in me, because this is sensitive to spelling. Believe me, I know. You'll want to make sure. Yeah, we can see right now. No results. Right. So we have to be accurate. But here's the other thing, Aaron. We're working here in the AWS console, but typically you would be working programmatically whenever you're in a production environment. But this is a great demonstration to see why and the different options that we have. So we're really seeing that logic behind the scenes.
Exactly. And this is just like an API wrapper. That's cool. All right. So that's all done. And because our database is so small, we can see right here that friend ID, player 1, the player 2, and player 3 items are displayed. So I'll pull that up because they are a relationship, or I have a friendship with them. Okay. Let's go ahead and cover this last task statement. Use a global secondary index. Why would we do this?
If we wanted to use a partition key other than our initial table partition key, we would want to go ahead and use a global secondary index.
And right here, it actually explains it also. Suppose your company's application had to retrieve data based on players at a certain level or experience only and use a scan operation. Okay.
Yeah, we're really getting fine-tuned here. So we can specify not only the level, but also the experience. So you really do find a formidable contender. You can find exactly what you're looking for here.
Nice. And I see task statement 4.1 says to create a global secondary index using the level and experience attributes. I'm not gonna lie, I've already done this, just like how I created the table. This is in North Virginia. That's the one we just saw. And this is in London. And I already have that global secondary index right here. So
cool. Let's explore those table items and see if we want to do a query real quick.
Not a scan?
Not a scan this time. Let's go with query.
Query. Table friends?
One. Not here. Let's change it to the index. That's what we're querying against the specific GSI or global secondary index.
Got it. Are we looking for anything specific on the level?
Level 12.
Level 12. And then
greater than.
Oh, greater than
500 for our experience.
500. Level. And then run?
Run. Let's see. All right. Oh my gosh. Of course. Player 3. So maybe that's me. I am.
It probably is. Yeah.
I am.
Because we're in the friends table.
That's right. So you can see how this really, by having your global secondary index, you get that very specific return.
Yeah. Nice. And we followed all these instructions. The next step would be to delete the table. We'll skip that for now, but let's go ahead and just remind everyone about AWS Cloud Institute. If you want to learn more about it and work with amazing instructors like Cherokee and a few of our others, go ahead and click the link that we have in the description. You can sign up to learn more. There's an application you can fill out. It only takes about 5 minutes. We'll also have a survey for AWS OnAir. So please click that in the chat Enjoy the rest of your reInvent. Cherokee, thank you so much for your help. And thank you to Darrin from earlier, our chat moderators, and all the viewers. And we'll see you next time.